Hello everybody and welcome to the penultimate round in the Virtual Circuit Racing TCR Championship here this evening. It's Brandgs GP for our penultimate round, and contrary to normal British racing, touring car racing rules, it's not the final round here at Brandgs GP. In fact, that is going to Croft next week, which is a little bit unusual for these Isles, but we're glad to be along with you for this second last round. Myself, Ewan, Larry, James Parfitt, bringing you the action from this final reverse grid race. James, I think it's only been reverse grid races that we've done together actually this season, and they've all been very, very exciting indeed. I think one thing that was maybe missing a little bit last week from Cadwell Park, to be honest, was that reverse grid race, because it was very difficult to overtake in the first race, and you didn't get that sort of payoff with the top guys coming through the field in the second race, unfortunately. So it was a bit of a quieter day, but Thruxton and Alton Park, the ones we've done together so far, the reverse grid races, were excellent, and I'm sure that this is going to be something similar at Brands Hatch tonight.
Yeah, I think it is. I think the reverse grid just gives it a different dimension. It just makes it interesting. You know, as much as you love one race, right? Don't get me wrong, and everybody races to the front, but it just gives it something else when you've got a reverse grid. And Thruxton, you know, was amazing. And I think this is going to be amazing. However, my only gripe, and I've got to go through at least one broadcast with a little bit of a gripe, I would have loved to have seen them do the Indy circuit of 15 minutes, because I think that just would have been absolute chaos, and I think it would have been amazing. But we're on the Grand Prix circuit, so we are going to go all the way out. 1 minute 29 lap times currently at the moment. Red Shaw's in YouTube chat, welcome in. Bosie's there as well. Hey, welcome in, thank you so much for joining us. But I think, yeah, for me, I would have seen Indy. I would have loved the Indy circuit here tonight.
Yeah, I do understand that. You know, it suits these cars quite well. The Indy circuit is probably too short for almost anything else. Certainly anything else faster, but yeah, I think for these cars it would have been quite an interesting layout to use. Maybe this Grand Prix circuit is going to be a little bit different, but let's see. We're yet to see what the racing is really going to be like here tonight. Last week, because at Cadwell Park, unfortunately we were missing two of the top three in the championship, so as I say, a bit of a quieter day. Josh Haythwaite ended up taking the victory, and he now closes to just 16 points behind Trafford King, who is currently leading the way. It's Luke Woodhouse who's still third, although only 2 points in front of Chris McIntosh now, with Lee Southall rounding out the top five. Southall finished in fourth place in that previous race, so does have a bit of weight on board, quite a bit actually, but he's currently on top of this qualifying session, ahead of Trafford King. So it's a very good lap indeed from Southall. He's ahead of two drivers who haven't got any weight on at all, King and Woodhouse, who are second and third at the moment. Very, very impressive drive so far. But we'd better start thinking about the drop weeks really, because next week is the last week, and your two worst races are dropped effectively. So King will drop last week's race one, of course, and perhaps was Monza a double? No, it was Monza was a single race, wasn't it? So I think one of those might be dropped as well. Anyway, we need to work things out between this week and next week, and that championship finale indeed. But yeah, King is it's been closed in on a little bit after that non-appearance last week.
Yeah, I'm sure Trafford a reason. I don't know what it is, but we're going to find out. Hopefully, this is the thing. Is what we don't want is after this one, the championship being done. Like, you know, we don't want Traff going out. As much as I love Trafford, I don't want Traff going out winning the whole blinking thing already. You know what I mean? We want him to go and take it down to the last race of the season, because let's face it, when it comes down to a last round championship decider, you know, it is only one race and it is at Croft, but we can't help that. But it gives it a special element. Everybody seems to turn up and everybody comes out the woodwork, and then it's like, right, it's between these two and this is going to be a flat out fight. Would I have loved to see reverse grids? Probably, but I think a one race decider for the championship and the final round is probably the way to go, to be honest. And I think some of the things of what we've seen this season have been absolutely amazing. And you know, they've asked us about coming back next season. Now, next season is going to be quite interesting, I think, as well, because we're going over to GT3s. Not only are we, you know, changing cars, we're also changing simulator as well, because we're going over to a set of Corsa. So that's going to be quite an interesting change for some of these guys. And I'm really interested to see how it works and whether or not all of these guys who have had TCRs for the last 2 seasons are going to come away and all of a sudden jump into a GT3 in a completely different new sim. So that's something to look forward to. Don't forget, guys, if you want to get involved, you can. Discord link down in the description below, and come along and join in for the GT3s at Assetto Corsa. Let me know what you think in the YouTube chat as well, and tell us what you think of the changes and whether or not you would have liked to have seen Brandgs Indy here this evening, or whether or not you're happy with the GP, and whether or not you're going to be looking at Season 5 and the GT3s at Assetto Corsa. So that's going to be something different next season as well. So there's a lot of changes going on at the moment in VCR, and I think it could go well, and it could be for the better, but I'm just worried that the last 2 seasons of TCRs, are they going to lose the core that they've got of Southall, King, Haythwaite, Price, that are constantly driving these TCRs to go over to GT3s and Assetto Corsa? I'm a little bit intrigued to see how that works.
Yeah, either that or, you know, GT3 being the most popular car division in the world and has been for a while in terms of actually, you know, mass participation events in sim racing and in the real world as well. You see GT3 racing taken on by the most amount of teams and drivers. Is it going to go, you know, the opposite way? And we're going to see more people turn, because sometimes I have seen that in other series actually. Series that we've done before, having sort of lower numbers for a few seasons, and then they move to GT3s, and suddenly it's, you know, massive grids for all of the rounds. It just depends really on a million things, I think, and we'll be very interested to see what that next season brings. Renshaw putting a bit of controversy into the YouTube chat, says real drivers enjoy more corners, and so prefers the Duke Grand Prix layout. That feels like a bit of a backhanded comment towards you, actually.
Yeah,
that you're not a real driver or whatever, but I don't think you contest that particularly.
No, I think I think it's a dig, to be blatantly honest, as well. Look, I'm not a driver, but then again, I'd never declare to be because I suck. So I think it's going to be, you know, whatever. But I just think reverse grids on Indy would have been the way to go for this round. I think it would have been absolutely amazing. So that's all I'm saying on that one.
Yeah, well, no, I understand. It's a very simple short circuit, but it does provide some good racing. We'll see what the Grand Prix circuit has for us here tonight when we get going in a moment. It looks like Lee Southall is going to take pole here. I don't think we've seen a single improvement from anybody actually since we went live, have we? I mean,
no,
that's pretty similar, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any real reason for that, or whether everybody just already got their best laps in and then they just couldn't improve any further. But it's quite unusual, really, for us to join and nobody improves at all.
Yeah, it is a little bit. I'm trying to actually, I don't know why I'm trying to think back to any broadcast that we've done previously or recently, because we do loads, but no, I'm not, I can't remember anything where somebody hasn't moved position since we joined qualifying.
No, very unusual. Will Woodhouse maybe change that here in a moment? He says he's been on this lap for nearly 3 minutes, but I don't always believe the graphic, to be honest. Let's see if it changes as he crosses the line here. No, it doesn't look like it. And actually, as I was saying that, it looked like Traffic King actually just went a little bit closer to Lee Southall, only a quarter of a tenth of a second. There was a great pole battle last week, actually, with some late laps coming in and some late changes as well. But unfortunately, that looks like it's they're going to miss us this time round. Indeed, there is the last driver coming into pit lane as well, so that will be that. And the guys will be on pit lane for a moment before heading out for race number 1. But Southall's 5th place in the championship at the moment, and will be looking to take a race victory here in race number 1. But it's the guys behind who are fighting for a championship. King, Woodhouse, Haythwaite, who are not quite in championship order, but they are the 3 drivers who will be fighting here. And as you say, we don't want this championship to be over before the final round, and there is a danger of that if Haythwaite has a bad round here tonight, that he does put himself out of the equation with Traffic King getting such a nice lead. I think at the moment Traffic King would have 30 points as a drop score, and Haythwaite would have probably 45 taken away, something like that, and that would mean, what would that mean? That would mean he'd lose 40.
It would mean we'd have to try and do maths, and that don't work out.
I know. It'd be 31 points, I think, the gap at the moment. But he's 42 for a victory in a one-race evening. So and you can't take your drop round in the final evening. So he has to be within 42 points. And so I think to maybe make it a bit more simple, really, to put it in more realistic terms. Heavyweight has probably got to take points off of Traffic King both races tonight to really close that gap and give himself a chance, because, well, even if it is 31 points, while it would be possible for him to mathematically take it, and, it's not very realistic to take 31 points out of someone on a one-race evening. So, realistically, I think he has to beat him twice tonight.
Yeah, and that's always going to be tough anyway, isn't it, when you're asking somebody to do something that's been hard all season. So, yeah, I'm going to find this quite interesting. Now, we got a comment in there. He said the Indy track would have been fun, but the larger track gives a little more opportunity. That I kind of agree with, but I still think the fact that we do carry 3/4 of the or half of the GP circuit on the Indy circuit, I still think it would have been good and fun there as well. Amy's in YouTube chat as well. Hello, Amy. How are you? Thanks so much for joining us. I hope you're very well as well. And Lord Moss Gaming, he's not on track tonight. I don't know, by the looks of it, it says, how's the sun? So I'm guessing he's on a holiday somewhere.
Very nice. Well, he's not in the UK because it's not sunny. So
no, dude,
so
it's freezing over here. I don't know about anybody else. I've even got out my big old snuddy thing that I'm putting on because it is so cold. It's horribly cold. Oh, lights are out. We're gone.
You hadn't seen them, I could tell. Meanwhile, Lee Southall tries to keep this lead off the start, and it's round the outside for Traffic King. What a great start from him, and the less weight on board probably helping with the launch slightly uphill there as Lee Southall looks to the outside to try and take that lead back. It might be difficult to get the lead again if he loses it from here, but it looks like he's going to have to try and make this overtake from behind as they come down the hill in towards the left-hander. Traffic King leads. He just had a better launch there. There wasn't anything that Lee Southall could have done really about that.
No, not at all, to be blatantly honest. It was basically Traff just doing traffic straight around the outside. Addy's just lost a position to Hayes. Hayes is on a bit of a march at the moment. He's going after Price. As I say that, he's just gone and lost it in the corner. Big puff of smoke, did not get a good exit. But Traffic King flying off the start line, doing an absolute stunning job as well. And yeah, if Southall's not if he's not careful, it could be Traff pulling away with this.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mentioned. You've got to keep the lead here off the start, or at least try to. Otherwise, it could be a very, very difficult evening indeed. But looks like it's going to be a very difficult evening indeed for Lee Southall with Woodhouse and Heavyweight right behind. You can see who the leaders are. You can see who the front four are. And the gap is approaching a second already, back to Price, who had a very good evening actually last week and is currently in 5th position. And he's off as he goes wide there through the left-hander. That's the penultimate corner at Stirling's Bend. And he will lose further time as a result of that. The front four are definitely the fastest in this field.
Yeah, absolutely. And Heavyweight, Woodhouse, Southall, King pulling away. Price there as well. We've got Hayes, Addy, Burnett, Tisseria and James at the back end. Oh, of course, not me. I'm not in it, promise. So this could be an interesting fight here. Where would you look at this race circuit and think all the overtakes are going to come from here? Because, to be honest, the GP circuit does open itself up to a lot of overtaking positions.
Yeah, I think, the big chances are going to be on the way towards turn 2 at Druids Bend. Big braking zone there, even if it is uphill. Shortening the braking distance, a big chance. There's actually a big chance down here, actually, at the end of the straight at Pilgrim Drop, and Hawthorne's Bend, the right-hander at the end of it, is actually quite a good chance at going down the inside. That's not a big braking zone. You can see it in the background. There's a bit of side-by-side between Tissera and Burnett into turn 5, and Tissera has to just back out of that one. Burnett will stay ahead just for the moment. But yeah, I think those are a couple of good opportunities. But the advantage of this circuit is that less than a minute and a half, the opportunities that there are do come round quite often because the track's relatively short, and as is the case with most of these circuits, to be honest, on this schedule. So yeah, there's going to be plenty of chances, that's for sure. But so far, none of them being taken at the front four.
No, not at the moment. They kind of follow a leader at the moment here as well. Burnett is got Tisseria in behind him. And is it Tissera? No, Tissera, isn't it? Tissera tucked in right behind him at the moment. James has had a bit of a nightmare, unfortunately, and has dropped all the way down the order. But Tissera was closing in, and unfortunately is gone and it hit the gravel, and now, unfortunately for him, has lost time. So it's going to be this mid-pack battle of Hayes, Price, Addy, that I think is going to provide some of the action for a minute, because the front four are getting a little bit more spread out.
Yeah, they certainly are. Mr. Moss, by the way, still hasn't told us whereabouts in the world he's seeing the sun at the moment, so we'll keep waiting. But apparently it's nice, so there we go. Feel jealous about that. It was sunny yesterday where I am, and I feel that might be the last day where we see the sun until March.
Pretty much, mate. I don't think we're going to see it again here either, to be blatantly honest with you. So, yeah, never mind. We live in the UK.
I know, yeah. We did choose it, so there we go. A bit wide for Ben Hayes, who dips a wheel into the grass a little bit and tries to give chase to Dave Price at the moment, who's rounding out the top 5. And he's not that far behind Heavyweight, so the gaps are starting to sort of almost become uniform across the board now, actually, at just over a second. Traffic King is the one who's got the biggest lead, but it's only 1.6. And then Southall's got a second, Woodhouse 7/10. Heavyweight 1 second, same for Price, and then Hayes, and then just a little bit more for Matthew Addy. It's very, very uniform across the board. Tissera has had trouble on this lap, though, and James goes past him into 9th.
Yeah, he does. I think that was from what Tissera did earlier on in the lap as well. Got a little bit out of shape, and James made up that position. Burnett there is trying to get onto the back of Addy, but it's just a slight little battle developing between Heavyweight and Woodhouse. It depends if Heavyweight can get a decent run and try and get onto the back of Woodhouse. And it looks like James has just... he's gone off and he's sat in the gravel at turn 1, and Tissera has gone through. But this battle could materialise itself, and hopefully within the next 9 minutes we'll see how these guys get on.
Well, Heavyweight probably the closest at the moment, as they already dipped through 5 minutes of this race, flying by very, very quickly indeed. On the way down on the way towards Hawthorne's Bend. This is the right-hander, the bottom of the hill I was talking about, and there goes Woodhouse wide. Luke Woodhouse, and that is not ideal at all, and he's wide again. Here comes Josh Heathwaite. 2 mistakes in a row from Luke Woodhouse, and Josh Heathwaite says thanks very much, I'll be on the podium, and up into 30 goes. Yeah,
unfortunately for Woodhouse, that only took a couple of corners to get it all wrong, and now Woodhouse has got Price tucked in right behind him at the moment as well. Coming into the left-hander of Sterling's before they go run down clearways, it's going to be Price, Hayes, Woodhouse battle, and that is just something that happened. I think Woodhouse made one mistake, overcompensated for the fact he was trying to go forward, and then goes and makes another one as well. And unfortunately now he's got Price tucked in right behind him.
Yeah, and the momentum could be too much for Woodhouse actually here if he doesn't defend on the way towards turn number 1. Price weaves around to the right and the left, and he doesn't go down the inside on this occasion. Hayes in 6th. Oh, he'll get the momentum and the bit of a run as well here, so it just goes down the line, doesn't it? Domino effect. And here comes Ben Hayes. He has a look on the outside, bit of draw handle rubbing there on the way towards turn 2. And Hayes might give himself the inside as a result here on the way towards 4. There he goes, not 3 rather. Nicely done. And Ben Hayes is in the top 5, although for how long? Because he's lawn mowing out there. And Dave Price is going to come back again. Here he comes on the way towards turn 4. But no, he can't respond. And Ben Hayes gets his top 5.
Yeah, people seem to be getting the overtakes done. They're making mistakes, which is quite interesting as well. So we're going to have to see how this one pans out and whether or not Price is going to be able to go forward over Hayes. Could be quite interesting, but I suppose on our side of things we want to sort of worry about whether or not Woodhouse is going to be able to get Heathway, and are we seeing the end of the championship with King being out in front?
Well, it's not impossible at all at the moment. First place, 40 points available, by the way, for a first place finish in one of these races. Heathwaite will score just 30 if he finishes in 3rd place, and of course that's a big if at the moment with guys queuing up around him. So that would be 10 points, and I think that would extend the lead to 41-ish for Traffic King. So quite apart from the fact that, you know, mathematically he would have to finish, realistically, Heathwaite would have to finish ahead of King in the next race. He actually, I think, mathematically might have to finish ahead, because otherwise that will go over 42 points, which is the maximum score at Croft next week.
Yeah, I really don't want this done, but I fear it may well be. So, come on, Josh, sort it out, son. You know what I mean? Amy's rooting for him as well. Otherwise, Josh goes hungry and he doesn't get fed if you don't win. Isn't that right, Amy?
I'm going hungry at the moment. So next door cooking.
Me too. I'm waiting to order me takeaway after this.
Meantime,
I have to go and digress about food and kebabs.
Yeah, completely sidetracked there. We're just over halfway, by the way. Because of the lap times around here, we should get 10 laps in both races tonight, and it shouldn't differ from there. just over 1.5 minutes for a lap time round here, and that should give it a very uniform look across the board, actually, across the 2 races. Heavyweight under a lot of pressure here, isn't he, with Luke Woodhouse right behind, and unfortunately for Woodhouse, he's caught at the wrong moment. Or is he going to make an overtaking? Oh my word, he is! Coming up the hill through Sheen Curve. Oh, there's contact! Haythwaite's off the circuit into the gravel, and Josh Haythwaite's championship is starting to look more and more unlikely now. After contact over the top of the hill at Sheen Curve there, he's down to 7th.
Oh no, I don't know if there was contact. I really don't know. I think Josh may have just overcooked it going into the corner. I don't know if there's contact, so I'm not going to go, yes, you're correct, there was contact, 'cause I don't know if there was. But it looked like he just overcooked it and Woodhouse went up the inside. So unfortunately for Josh, I think we are looking at Traff winning this championship. Price has been off as well. He's doing some little sand digging outside as well. They're talking about track limits in YouTube chat as well. There doesn't seem to be anyone. But yeah, Price has just gone off as well. But is that the end? Is that the end? Or is Haythwaite going to come back in that reverse grid? Because it will put him up front, of course.
Yeah, it will. And the same points are available in race 2 as there are in race 1. I don't think anybody so far this season has done the double, by the way. Just double checking the results on that before I go all out. But I think nobody's gone first and third, so it'd be very difficult for King to come all the way through the field and pass Haythwaite again. But the problem for Haythwaite is going to be the points he loses in this race. 7th place is only 15 points compared to the 40 for first. That's a 25-point loss, and it would absolutely balloon his disadvantage at the moment in the championship. So I believe, I'll double check and work it out in a moment, but again, I think that would give King a position where he could finish and win the championship no matter where Heavyweight finishes, and that would be a brilliant position for King to be in to avoid that championship finale.
Yeah, and then we go to next week with nothing on the line at all. Yucked it. Well, I just like last round final deciders, and it brings, as I said earlier on, it gives it something special in the final round. Otherwise, the final round is just going to be like a procession of cars because there's nothing on the table in regards to the championship. We could end up with a second place battle, I suppose, or something like the top 3 podium. But Haythwaite's too far ahead of Woodhouse. Chris McIntosh ain't here either.
Well, hold on, you say that. The gap's 46 points at the moment. Haythwaite will have 45 taken off him with the drop rounds. Woodhouse will have none taken off. So there's 1 point between them coming into tonight, effectively. And so that's worth just keeping an eye on as well. See if Woodhouse will get any closer to the championship. Traffic King at the... and as we see on the way down the hill here, no, nothing doing this time round. Traffic King will be on 270, which is 32 in front of Woodhouse. And that would grow to 42 as it stands. So Woodhouse would grow into second place in the championship as things stand. And he would be the one most likely to deny Traffic King an early title.
Maybe. I think it's all maths, and I just can't do maths at the same time. Hayes! Oh. So, yeah, I think it's just going to be very, very interesting. And he did get past Hayes in the end as well. Very, very interested, and we'll see if we can keep the championship fight alive. Does King have to win race number 2, or does he just need to finish it in front of Haythwaite?
Oh, no. Doesn't need to finish first at all. If it stays as it is right now, he would only need a 4th place or better to get Haythwaite out of the championship, no matter what happens. And he needs to finish ahead of Woodhouse, no matter where they finish. Because at the moment, the gap would be 42 points, I think, as it stands. 42 points is exactly what you can score in the final round. So he would just need to gain 1 more point, no matter where they are. Just gain 1 more point over Woodhouse and finish in the top 4, and to get Haythwaite out of the equation. And he will seal it early. But I think realistically, we are looking at a championship that is over here, because you've got to then think about how many people you need to be there to actually drop down enough. I mean, if for example, if he goes in with a 42-point championship lead, a 12th place finish would be good enough. And as you can see here tonight, that would mean but just starting the race would be good enough.
Yeah, shame, isn't it? But these things happen. That's racing, unfortunately, isn't it? And that's the thing. Yeah. Well, onwards and upwards to next season. That's going to be the exciting bit. Ooh, what's going on there?
Woodhouse a bit wide. And Hayes has lost again to Price. Oh, Hayes has dropped down, so Haythwaite's going to gain another place. It's through Sheen Curve, actually, it seems, where Hayes has gone wide. So Haythwaite does move up to 6th place. I'm not going to call it officially tonight, I don't think, unless Traffic King wins both races. I'll leave the maths to work out, because, of course, Haythwaite might well take a drop round from one of these as well, which makes it even more confusing. So I'll leave it to the mathematicians at the end of the day to work out whether the championship's been decided or not, as Ben Hayes does indeed have a slow trundle into pit lane.
Yeah, I can't think why he would go into pit lane, to be honest, unless he had damage at somewhere. TCR's moved up now as well, so unfortunately for him, he's gone in pit lane. But King out in front by 3.8 seconds. I believe we are on the final lap.
Yeah, it should be. As I mentioned, the lap time's just about a lap and a half, a minute and a half, I should say, and that means that should be 10 laps for both here tonight as Traffic King makes his way into the forest, as it were. And he is on his way to another victory. Hasn't actually won a round overall, by the way, since Alton Park, which was end of August. So it's been 4 weeks since he's won a round. I wonder whether tonight he can finally get one again, because it's been a couple of points lost in the final couple of weeks here. Just getting a bit of doubt into his mind late on as Haythwaite has made some inroads. But tonight he stamped his authority over this championship once again as the seconds tick by, and he arrives at the final corner just as the final lap is confirmed. Traffic King comes out the final corner to win race 1 here tonight in the Virtual Circuit Racing TCR Championship from Brands Hatch. A brilliant victory from King, ahead of Lee Southall in the end, who took pole and was outclassed in the end with a heavier car, and Luke Woodhouse, who moves to second in the championship, or at least should be, with a podium finish in race 1.
Yeah, great job from him there as well. Matthew Addy comes over the line, great 4th, well happy with that. Price in 5th, Haythwaite 6th. Burnett over the line in 7th, then we've got Sarah, Hayes and James. Hayes is back out on the racetrack, so good job from them.
And they will take a little bit of time to get to the line, along with Luke James as well. Interesting comment, and we'll just see it through here. There you go. There's a bit wide. That's exactly, by the way, what the track limits discussion in chat has been all about. Renshaw, saying that they'd like to see the difference it would make if it was strictly enforced. Anything over the white lines, etc., being off the circuit, and a small penalty as a result of each infringement, as there would be in real life. I don't know if it would make much of a difference, or whether the drivers would just sort of recalibrate where the road is, because generally the drivers do just push the limits to whatever they're allowed to do. And if they're allowed to go off the circuit, then they will do, and if they weren't allowed to go off the circuit, then they wouldn't do it. I think it might not make much of a difference.
Oh, well, James is showing us how to go off the circuit there, so good job from him. I think track limits is somewhat of a sticky one, and I think it varies from track to track as well. That's the thing. I think it kind of, like, the way I want to put it in perspective is we go into other simulators, right, me and you, and we can go to different circles, like the Red Bull Ring. Completely different to Spa. Completely different to the Hungaroring, completely different to Hockenheim, and that's the thing. And I think track limits is such a grey area. What is, what isn't? Have they gained? Have they not? Did they? And it just gets too complicated. Don't get me wrong. I like the fact that track limits are being, can be enforced, but it is such a grey area to deal with. Yeah,
it can be very difficult. So. I'm not sure it would make too much of a difference, but maybe it would. We won't find out. It does seem, though, that these cars don't seem to be affected very much by going off into the grass, do they? I mean, you mentioned it when there was some overtakes, a bit of a flurry of overtakes actually through the middle of that race there, and you said every time everybody seems to do that, they make a mistake and go off into the grass as well. Maybe the grass is not quite having as much of an effect as maybe it should do, because they seem to be able to run out wide there in these TCRs without too much penalty, really.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, and it depends on what the simulator itself has got in it, and I know recently the simulator we do within iRacing, and they've updated their grass and they've made it deeper and all this other fancy jazz, and it slows people down. But if obviously a set of course hasn't got that depth to the grass, it's not really going to make a big difference. So, yeah, maybe it doesn't really make a massive difference. I'm sure it does something, but what it does, well, we don't know.
Everybody's pulled back into the pit lane, and we'll now have that brief waiting period between the two races before we get going again. It's going to be completely reversed, and I'm guessing you're going to go with Haythwaite as a favourite to win this one based on what you were saying in race 1 there. Top half start for him, 5th place.
Well, yeah, I would have thought he would have been a shoo-in. You know, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to put my house on him, but generally I thought he would have been a shoo-in. But he's had a rough race 1. He needs Amy to go in and calm him down and give him a cuddle and just say it'll be all right, mate. You know what I mean? Like, you know, otherwise he's going to be in trouble. So, yeah, see how I get on.
That wouldn't help me, I've got to say. Someone else coming in to interrupt me.
Lights are on this time, Mr. O'Leary.
Yeah, can you see them now?
I can, yes.
They're very well camouflaged, but here we go anyway. Lights go on again for race 2 here from Brands Hatch, and Luke James will get us underway. Very long hold, and now we are underway. Oh, bit of a sluggish start there from 3rd position, and there's going to be carnage in the background as a result. There's Price having a real rocket start. Look at that as he gets alongside Haythwaite, although he's going to be boxed in a little bit there on the outside line. Haythwaite will be on the inside here, gaining some places, and he is indeed into 4th position. Southall and Woodhouse are at the back. Oh, that's a big dive from Hayes. Ben Hayes down the inside of Luke James, who has been displaced immediately. That was aggressive, but it might well turn to be a race-winning move for Ben Hayes if he can run away from the field early.
Yeah, Hayes had an absolutely amazing dive. What a pick up on is TCR didn't go anywhere off the start line. Literally nowhere. They're free wide coming into the corner here as well. Price is on the inside. Oh, I don't know if this is going to work.
Dear me. They're still managing it. And now Luke James gets clear. Burnett and Price are going to be left to go side by side between themselves. Haythwaite has been backing away and thinking, I don't want to be involved in this, but while he's doing that, Traffic King is again making places on this start. A couple off in front of him, here goes Price and Haythwaite up the inside. Traffic King's going to try and follow. Can he do this? Can he follow and get ahead of these guys he needs to be ahead of in the championship to really put this one to bed tonight? Oh, onto the grass for Burnett. He goes into a big slide. He saves it, but Traffic King has made up 6 places in 1 lap, and he's up into 4th.
Yeah, no, Burnett was there with TCR and Southall as well. Southall's gone down the order, unfortunately, but this is all getting very, very tight. Hayes has escaped up the road. Price is slowly ebbing away from this, but this is the moment. Haythwaite King. Haythwaite has to keep him behind him. He's got to defend. He's got to get his elbows out. He cannot do anything apart from don't do that. Says he just left the door wide open. Makes a mistake. Bangs into Addy. Addy's coming up the inside as well. Woodhouse is trying to take it free wide going into the corner. And at the moment, Haythwaite is not doing what we thought he would do.
Yeah, Traffic King is moving closer and closer into championship winning position here. In fact, he's moving into a position where he might be able to win 2 races in 1 night for the first time this season. In fact, nobody's won 2 races in 1 night in the reverse grid rounds that we've had, but he's made 7 places already, and he's running away from Haythwaite. Addy is still in front of Woodhouse, who can't seem to quite clear him. He's driving down the grass indeed, trying to do exactly that now, on the way down the hill under the bridge and on the way towards the right-hander. That's Lee Southall trying to get past Woodhouse. And he is absolutely dead level with him. I mean, these guys are just killing themselves here. Traffic King is running away with this, and the battle for 4th place is going to be for just that in a moment, and they're not going to catch the likes of Hayes and Price if they continue on like this.
Yeah, but this is the race that I love. This is the race that we want to see. I don't want to see them all processioning, trying to get clear. No, just go for it. Have a ding-dong, not even worry about it, as Burnett goes and digs out some of the gravel there as well. But Haythwaite didn't do what we thought. You know, we said at the beginning of this race, is he in for the win? He should have technically been in for the win. As I said, I weren't going to put my house on it, and it didn't go the way it wanted to do for Haythwaite. He's now got Addy closing in behind him as well, and Addy's coming at him quite quick here. And King's just said, thanks very much. King's got to have a go at Price, which is closing down very quickly. But the question is can King get Price, and then can King get Hayes after? Not long left, 11 minutes, and at the moment, Traffic King doing what he needed to do.
Yeah, he certainly is, and closing in on Price at the moment as well. Battle for 5th place. Again, Woodhouse goes down the inside of Addy, but last time he tried this, he ended up nearly losing a place to Southall, and it looks like that might happen again here, because Matthew Addy's got a very good run round the outside, and here in the background comes Lee Southall. Well, he's going to be stuck on the outside, actually makes it very clear he doesn't want any part of this, and he wants to stay out of it. Outside line for Woodhouse. Oh, it's too wide though. There goes Southall. Surely he's going to get 6th place now. And there you go. That was just a case of trying to go around the outside at the fast right-hander. It can work, but you do run the risk of losing a place, as he just has.
Yeah, exactly. Now Woodhouse has got to rely on the fact that Addy's going to catch up with Haythwaite and pull them forward. Southall's going to dive up the inside of Addy. There's going to be contact. There was. Southall saved it. Addy still manages to survive. Southall in behind with Woodhouse coming at him quick as anything at the moment.
See what happens on the way towards turn number 1 again here as Traffic King gets close to Price, by the way. Fastest lap of the race, and here he goes. Inside line. Are we going to see our first double winner of the season with Traffic King here, or are we going to see a bit of resistance put up by Price or Hayes? Well, not by Dave Price this time round. Traffic King's into second. In just 5 minutes, he's made 8 overtakes.
That is nuts. But it didn't help that Sarah didn't get off the line. Sarah didn't get moving, and it blocked everybody up, and then King was just like, well, it's like Christmas, thank you very much, I'm going to go in here, I'm going to take this one, I'm going to do that one. Absolutely stunning job. You can't say a lot about a man that just goes and does that in 5 minutes. Southall has just gone and done Addy, and now Woodhouse has got to go and have a go as well. Sarah's having a nice little battle with Burnett further back. That was a little bit closer going into that corner, but I think Sarah has just been slow. But King closing in on Hayes very, very quickly. Woodhouse and Addy side by side.
Around the outside for Woodhouse, and again Matthew Addy making this difficult for Luke Woodhouse. Lee Southall should have shown him how it's done, really, but Woodhouse will now go around the outside and will go through. Doesn't go off into the gravel as he did when Haythwaite got past him in race number 1. That mistake which led to Haythwaite going straight through. It's Woodhouse who's up to 6th position now, and a very good overtake indeed from him over Addy, who hits it into the gravel. Off for Woodhouse. Addy might well feel bad about that, but not that bad. Burnett goes through, and Tessera might well go through as well. Woodhouse's season's starting to unravel now in race 2.
Yeah, Tessera's gone through at the same time there. That slight little bit of contact dislodging the car, and unfortunately it went sideways there as well. King is coming at Hayes, and he's getting there very, very quickly indeed. So, yeah, that double winner thing that we were talking about, I think could happen.
It's looking likely at the moment, isn't it? More than half of the race for Hayes to defend is probably too far, you would say, at this stage. Over 8 minutes to go, and only completed 4 laps of the 10 that are expected here this afternoon as they come out onto the Grand Prix circuit, going left there where the Indy circuit would continue a little bit more straight on, a little bit of a gentler left, and down the hill into the right-hander. Traffic King's going to be applying all the pressure. The hope for Hayes here is going to be big defensive shapes thrown early on, and then Price catches up and makes it more difficult for King as he has to look behind and in front of him at the same time. But he's got to defend up until that point anyway, because Price is 1.2 seconds back.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's got to be proactive with his defending as well. He cannot be reactive. Don't leave the door open like that. That is just nuts. You're not going to hold it there as well. Hug that inside line tighter than your favourite grandma and literally sit there and make it as difficult as possible. If you're going to leave the door open, he's going to say thank you. Like now, come off the corner, get to the inside. Hug the inside. Don't go back out on the outside line because he's going to try and come round you anyway. Now this is the point for Hayes. He's got to go in deep. He's got to open up that steering, and he's got to get King on that outside line. No. And that is the end of that as King goes through.
There's a very smart cutback. You've got to be wary of him running around the outside, and indeed the cutback there, and Hayes has let the cutback happen to him there. Is he still alongside? No, he's not. He did... All he had to do there was just hold on for those couple of corners because Price is there now. And if he can strike back here, then Hayes has still got a chance as Traffic King's forced on the defensive on the way towards his left-hander, and he breaks late here. Good effort from Hayes. Can he stay alongside though? Not quite. And Price is there now. Hayes is in the position of having to look ahead and behind him. And Traffic King now leads again with 6.5 minutes to spare.
Have a go. Go on. Get him up the inside or something. Hayes isn't, you know... He's not a slouch. He knows what he's doing, but he needed to almost go the same speed as King through turn 1 to not allow him to have that cutback. He needed to keep him on that outside line and literally just go slower than him to make him have to work for that outside. And he didn't. He went in like he normally does. He hugged the line, which is great. and he just went too deep, and King just comes straight back underneath him. He just needed to stay alongside him. What he doesn't want now is Price having a go at him, because he's still there. He's in there 4 attempts back. It's not a million miles away. King is still human, we hope and we think, and he can still make mistakes. So I'm hoping that Hayes might be able to capitalise. If coming into about 3 minutes to go or 2 minutes to go, and King's got, Hayes has got no hope of going to get hold of King, Price, your free game, have a go. But I think, for a minute, just for a minute, they've got to stay there.
Yeah, I think that minute where he starts to let that hope go is coming pretty soon, though, because it's 7 tenths of a second. Price is, as soon as Hayes starts to look behind and sort of slow himself down as he's looking behind and worried about losing the place, that's definitely a point at which, you've definitely got to stop thinking about this now as a race-winning fight and more of a second place fight, and we're getting to that stage rapidly now already. 4 to go, including the one we're on at the moment, 3 at the line, and there's a number of others catching up behind, by the way, so maybe even delaying this second place fight is a good idea anyway, even if you want to keep a podium, but Price won't do that. He comes down the inside here on Hayes, in towards Westfield, round the outside for Hayes, who stays there and will get back into second again. So Hayes holds on for now, but Haythwaite and Southwell are going to be right here very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to be closing in. Price is going to have a go on the inside line. He's going to get it done with 4.5 minutes remaining. And literally, he's going to be able to go here. Hayes has just managed to stay ahead of him as well. But yeah, Price is looking racy.
He's got to, again, get this move done before Haythwaite arrives. And unfortunately, that means doing it in turn 1 or 2 here. And that, I'm afraid, is not going to happen, I don't think, at this sort of gap. You can see the time that they're losing to Traffic King, who is on his way to a double victory, the first ever double victory this season in the race 1 and then reverse grid race format that we've held throughout 4 rounds, I think, if I'm not mistaken, of this championship, starting back at Silverstone and continued on at Alton Park, Thruxton, and now here as well for the final time at Brands Hatch as well. We've got just the one race next week to decide the champion, and it might well just be a crowning moment, really, for Traffic King, given the over 80 points he's going to accumulate here tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a procession next week, isn't it? It's going to be a Traffic King show and see whether or not he can literally just, well, he could just chill, can't he? He doesn't really have to show up if you don't want him. And have a night off.
Oh, yeah, true. You want to, I think, have his crowning moment, I think, and it's always better to end the season on the circuit celebrating. But maybe he will take a week off next week in the final week of the season. No drop week can be taken there, but it might not matter for Traffic King, who's now 3 seconds in the lead here. 2 laps to go when they get to the line. Hayes under an enormous amount of pressure, but he's holding on at the moment to second.
Yeah, he is currently at this moment in time as well. Price. Haythwaite now there as well. He's got Southall in. Haythwaite really kind of could do with getting these two, but it's going to be very difficult over the next couple of laps, whether or not, because Southall's not going to let him. Southall's going to have a go around the outside of turn 1. No, not this time. Haythwaite keeping it there as well. And Southall's going to do to Haythwaite what King did, I think. Oh, they are!
Oh, no! Well, he saves it well. He saves it well, Haythwaite, with the front-wheel drive, but there's contact, and that might give them both now no chance of getting on the podium. I mean, by this time next lap, are they going to be a second and a half closer to Price there to be putting the pressure on, or have they both cost each other a chance at a podium here?
They're not going to get there. They won't get there. It'll be Price and Hayes who's going to battle out for the final podium spots. I don't think Southall's going to get there with Haythwaite, especially as they're going to still keep doing this. And that's it. Price has just moved out as well. He's looking to try and get around the outside of Hayes. Nothing doing there. Southall managing to, nope, swap back again. Haythwaite's managed to hold on. Southall's going to go up the inside. Price is doing the same thing. He's like a double carbon copy of each other at this moment in time. Haythwaite loses the position to Southall. Hayes loses the position to Price.
Well, you say that Price has probably been a bit quicker here tonight, and maybe indeed is overall as well, but it was relative ease actually in the end, considering the amount of defending that Hayes had been doing, that he got through with there, and now moves up into second place and will move on up the road, I would imagine, on the next few moments. Southall and Haythwaite will try and catch, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Hayes might well cut his losses here and forget about second place, just focus on getting a podium here in the second race at Brands Hatch by holding on to third, and I think that would be a good result for him, all things told, after this race. Or maybe he will get second. Price goes a bit wide through turn number 1. Hayes with a chance. He hasn't looked, but he's not close enough. Same for Haythwaite, actually, because Southall went a bit wide as well, but nothing doing into turn 2 on the last lap.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if there's going to be anything, it'll be Hayes on Price. I don't know. Josh is just, I don't know. He's not looking on it tonight. He's not looking the normal Josh Haythwaite that we, you know, and love. He's just not there at the moment. So I don't think he's going to be able to get Southall. No offence, Amy, don't shoot me, but that's my opinion. But at the moment, it could come from Hayes and Price. Price has got a few corners left to go, and he's just got to nail them.
6 seconds the current lead for Traffic King, though, further out front. And it's an unassailable lead, you'd say, at this stage. Hayes goes a bit wide. Is he going to throw this away right at the very end as Southall closes in? Southall, having not long overtaken Josh Haythwaite, is now looking at third, and look at that gap he's got there. He has a look on the way towards the penultimate corner. We'll see Traffic King cross the line first as our first ever double winner in the Virtual Circuit Racing TCR Championship on one night. Traffic King takes 2 from 2 at Brands Hatch and moves to an almost unassailable championship lead here in this season as well. In the background, Price gets his podium and Hayes holds on to it too. He finishes third in front of Southall, and that's a very good job indeed from those two, Price and Hayes. Perhaps unexpected podiums, especially for Hayes to hold on there at the end, but they both manage it and will join Traffic King on the podium in race 2.
Yeah, absolutely great job from them. The interesting thing is, look at Haythwaite and Woodhouse. Has that put Haythwaite in second now, going into next week?
Well, I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know. Well, I think I'll wait for the maths to be done after the race, to be honest with you, because the drop weeks will also be applied after this week going into next, and I'm not sure if Haythwaite will actually take a drop round from that first round, or whether he's had a worse race at some point than 6th place finish. But yeah, the drop round's going to make it very, very complicated. It's going to be a close battle for second, though, at least, even if Traffic King now is in a very, very strong position at the front of the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. I think King's wrapped this up. I really do think he's wrapped this up. I think it's going to be done by next week, or by the time we get there. But let's see what happens as we just keep an eye on Luke James, who's just driving back to pit lane as well. But Dave Price had a great second race. He's done rather well for himself, finishing second overall. So there we go. There's been lots of chat going on YouTube. I'm not quite sure what's been going on, but I missed most of it as well. So, but it does. I don't know if Redshaw's right. He said good races. Looked like there wasn't going to be much excitement at the start of race 1. Yeah, maybe.
Depends what your previous experience at Brands Hatch is like. I've got to say, I've not seen too many great races around Brands Hatch in my time, I must admit, but these were pretty good races all in all. Close finishes there between the guys for 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. So, yeah, I think pretty positive overall. Although, yeah, as I say, I haven't seen too much from Brands Hatch in the past to suggest it was going to be like that. There's all sorts going on here on the in lap as everybody's driving back in again. But anyway, a lot of people in that course seem to be more inclined to actually drive back to the pit lane than they do in other simulators, where they just sort of retire and leave straight away. I don't know what it is about this sim that makes them drive back.
I don't know. I do love the fact that we don't ever mention the other simulators when we talk about them.
Well, yeah.
But
and if they're paid by them, I mean, we can just say who they are.
Yeah, I don't think it really matters, does it? Does it really matter who, you know, like iRacing, people just stop in the middle of the race circuit and go, eject, and then wonder why they get hit after the line or something. You know what I mean? It's not the highest level of intelligence at times. So, you know, I don't see a problem with mentioning any sim, every other sim. Does anybody else have an issue in YouTube chat?
Yeah,
I don't see a problem with it.
No, you're right. It doesn't really matter, really. I'm kind of grouping them together because mainly I can't think of another sim where it doesn't happen. I mean, you know, you mentioned iRacing there, but you know, R-Factor 2, it's the same. Race Room, it's the same. They do. In Race Room, you don't even have to come to a stop. You just eject yourself while they're going at 200 miles an hour. So, yeah, it's.
Can you really do that?
Yeah, you can in race room, yeah, including in qualifying, which makes it very very weird to look at. But anyway, there you go. That's the different sims for you. I was just grouping them together to make it a bit easier. But there you go. I've
I
listed
haven't
them now.
commentated on our race room for ages.
Ever? Have you done race room ever? Before?
Yeah, well, I've done race room right at the beginning of when JPB started, but I haven't ever. I can't. Yeah, I haven't done it recently.
No, I haven't done it recently either, to be fair. But yeah. Anyway, that's race room. Meantime, let's have a chat to some of the drivers, shall we? At the end of tonight, starting with Traffic King, who I can't drag people again. You're gonna have to do it.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I'm not sure what it is.
It's done that thing again with my mouse. Oh, for God's.
Oh no!
Hold on.
For Christ's sake.
Well, it does a stupid thing. Give me 2 seconds, guys, as well. The screen's going to go blank for 2 minutes here as well. Just why I have to resolve this issue with Assetto Corsa, because it does love to freeze my mouse for me. There we go. I'll bring Traff in for you now.
Thanks very much. Traffic, welcome in. Good to have you with us. Congratulations on becoming the first driver to win 2 races in one night in this season. How was the second race, first of all? Were you expecting to jump through those 9 places in a matter of whatever it was, 8 or 9 minutes?
Oh, it was relaxing, mate. Not about it. No, it was absolute carnage, wasn't it? It was it was a good laugh, that. Definitely. I didn't expect to be to get where I got as quickly, to be fair.
I can imagine, certainly. I mean, was it a circuit you were looking forward to targeting? It looked pretty dominant in race number 1 as well. A circuit you like going around?
Yeah, I like Brandgs. I've never had a chance to actually drive GP part of it, but yeah, it is. It's good. It's a good laugh.
Traff, do you reckon it would have been better on the Indy circuit?
No, because you've got all back end that sort of fans it out a little bit, where if it was just carnage every single lap. I don't know.
That's not helping me, mate. Just agree with me,
No.
not disagree with me.
No, GP.
You're getting outvoted.
I am. Considerably at
I've
the
got-
moment as well. Traff,
You
you
know
know up
what?
in my situation.
I've got that record in my series as well on Brand's Indy, but no, I still think GP's better.
See, even despite that, you see, still think Grand Prix better. I don't. I think that it's very difficult to compare the two, and it's apples and oranges. They're very different in their ways. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to, Trafford, before we let you go tonight?
Tell you what, because I'm missing Croft next week. Just you boys for putting this on. It's been, it's meant to watch them back every week, and Luke and everyone that's contributed towards putting series on. Really, it's a good laugh. Mint got a good group of lads as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, congratulations on becoming the first driver to win double.
I've got one
night.
question, Traff. You doing GT3s next season?
Yeah, I'll have a blast in them. See what they're like.
Okay,
See
mate.
what they're like. I'll definitely have a blast in them. Something to do on Friday night, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Unless you go down the pub, of course.
Yeah, better than going down the pub, innit?
I've got to agree with you, mate. I don't drink, so it don't really make no difference to me.
Oh, right, fair enough, yeah.
So
Cheaper.
subject to
Well,
opinion.
I say it's cheaper. It's cheaper when you've bought everything.
Well, it is in the long run, yeah. £5 a pint
Yeah.
is ridiculous.
Yeah,
yeah, but it's more than £5 a car, isn't it?
You just buy one, try once, don't you?
Not on a set of Corsa. It's all modded, so you get them for free.
Well, I suppose not on a set of course, I know, yeah. But, well, yeah. Yeah, it just depends, doesn't it?
Oh, you mean
Depends
iRacing?
Yeah,
I
anything
was
like
sort
that.
of thinking about us in there.
iRacing, you just don't look at your bank account, do you? You just click continue.
No, well, yeah.
Mate, I don't even want to look at my bank account over the last 4 years of iRacing. It's scary.
When you look at your cars and you look how many you've actually bought, and then your tracks and look how many you've actually bought.
No, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I don't even drive, dude. Most of us are broadcasting.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe. But then again,
So,
you're making
yeah,
some
fair
out of it, are you?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
You're
Exactly.
making it
Well,
back. See, yours is better than us.
True.
to be fair, it's a good point. Either way, Travis, thanks for chatting to us again. And shame we won't see you next week, but congratulations, excuse me, on what I think will be your title this season. Although we need to do the maths to properly confirm it, but I think it will be. So congratulations on that, and congratulations on the double win tonight as well.
I think it can go, to be fair, because I can't drop Croft, so that's a proper 0. But I think it just depends how Josh and Luke do next week. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah,
we will.
cheers.
Cheers. Thanks very much. That's
Thanks a
Traffic King, who's won both races tonight at Brands Hatch in the VCR TCR Championship. Who should we chat to next? We'll chat to Dave Price, who's got to second place in the second race tonight. Dave, welcome in. Good to have you with us, and congrats on a podium once again tonight. What was that second race like there, and how confident were you were going to be able to hold on to even a podium place in those final laps as Haythwaite and Southall were closing on your battle with Ben Hayes?
Yeah, I was. It was an exciting race to be part of. First one was I couldn't get my head in it. I was all over the place. I made quite a few mistakes. And second race, I really needed to get back going again. And then when I saw the gaps opening up from the start, and I got a good start off the line, I thought, I might be able to do something here. I might be able to get back up there. And then there was a really good battle with Ben. A few moves, and he managed to defend really well. And I could see the lads catching behind, and I thought, I've got to get this move done. Otherwise, they're going to be on me, and then I've got no chance against Lee and Josh. They were so fast.
Yeah, I mean, it's been the case throughout the season, of course, as well. But how did you sort of imagine Brands Hatch going for yourself in terms of the racing tonight? We've been discussing ourselves whether the Indy circuit would have been any better than the Grand Prix circuit. What would your view on this circuit?
Yeah, to be honest, I like the GP circuit. I think there's a bit more to it. There's some areas where mistakes can happen, which obviously makes for better racing, closer racing, a bit more on the edge of the seat sort of stuff, where the Indy circuit seems to be just a little bit short. It's fun, don't get me wrong, but you seem to get through laps pretty quick. So I do prefer the GP personally.
James, we're having a bit of a straw poll ourselves, and
sure,
James is getting outvoted massively.
I am at the moment.
Is he?
Yeah, I'm getting annihilated, Dave, to be plainly honest with you, mate, and I'm not overly happy about it.
No, all for the Indy circuit, yeah.
I like the Indy circuit, but apparently not.
No,
I just want to see Carnage as commentator, so that'll be one of the reasons. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to, Dave, before we let you go?
Luke for running VCR, you guys for the broadcast, and everybody else that watches and supports and joins along, because it's a really good community and it's a really good league to be a part of.
Absolutely, Dave. Thanks for chatting to us again. Congrats on a podium tonight.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks so much. That's Dave Price, who was on the podium tonight in race number 2. Just missing out in race 2, but getting there for race 1. Lee Southall, who can now join us as well. Lee, welcome in. Good to have you with us. Let's go back all the way to the start tonight, shall we, with pole position. We didn't see your pole lap, I must say, because by the time we joined, you'd already set it. But how was the lap, and were you expecting to be on pole tonight?
Yeah, good evening. I'll have to just excuse my groggy voice. I've got the terrible man flu, so I am struggling a little bit. But yeah, that was a surprise, that quali, I'll be honest with you. I had hit that kind of time in practice, but I must admit, when it comes to that 15-minute window of trying to get that same time on the board with all the other guys on track, I didn't think I'd get there, but I just managed to. I actually came at the pits last, gave myself a good bit of room just to see if I could get a couple of laps, and I don't think I hit it in those couple of laps. I went to pits again, come out again, managed to find another window, and then the lap just actually came together for once. So I must admit, the last, I think because I set it quite early, I spent the rest of the quali trying to improve it, couldn't do it, and all I was doing was keeping an eye on traffic, because I knew he'd get there, but he had a not so good quali today, so not that it mattered.
Oh, yeah, in the sense that he was on the wrong side of the front row, I suppose. But
yeah, I started thinking that, the end of the quali, because I knew his pace during the practice, and I thought, are you doing this on purpose just so you can get a better start? I was like, but no. I think he has got a better touch on the clutch there when you're pulling away. I just can't seem to quite get it as good as the other guys.
I was going to ask about that actually, because I thought, the difference in weight actually, the ballast that was actually put on, because obviously Trafficking wasn't here last week, and you were. You don't have the most weight of anybody tonight, but that wasn't the factor. You think it was more the clutch control and whatever?
Yeah, off the line it was just it's actually quite hard to get this clutch right, I find, because you feel like you have to slip the clutch quite a lot because the car really struggles to get going, and if you just let that clutch up that millimeter too much, it just bogs down. So you're safer to drag the clutch a bit more than you should, but if you do that, it seems like it takes forever to get going, and then I feel like I'm getting there, and then I look to my left and Traff's just driving past me, and I'm like, no, I didn't do that very good. Yeah.
Well, there we go. I mean, it was still a good result in race number 1 and solid top 5 for race 2 as well.
Yeah.
So congrats on that tonight. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
No, just the normal, mate. Just the guys who run the league and you guys for streaming it. I imagine this one is also quite a fun watch back, so I'll get me a cup of tea and maybe a lem sip and I'll start watching it back.
Oh, lem sips, mate. Lem sips every 4 hours, Lee. I swear by them. They've been amazing.
The champions drink, mate. That's what they are.
They are, mate. Especially lemon and a couple of little spoonfuls of sugar.
That's the one.
Oh.
You almost sound like you want to be ill so you can have that.
Do you know what? I haven't been ill in about 3 or 4 years.
Don't say that. Don't say things like that.
I know. I might have to just go and buy some lem sips just to sit there and drink one.
You'll be in hospital soon saying sentences like that, though. So just be careful with that. But anyway, Lee, thanks for chatting to us again, and we'll see you for the final round next week at Croft.
Lovely, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. That's Lee Southall, who's a couple of top 5s tonight. We'll maybe get him further up the standings with Chris McIntosh not here tonight, as you can see from those standings there, although McIntosh does have some drop rounds to fall back on. All of those will be worked out before we start our broadcast next week, so do not fear. Oh, in fact, they've been added right now, so if we just refresh the page. So if you want to have a refresh, James, you can put them on the stream as well. But yeah, the provisional points, I presume there might be any stewards' inquiries maybe before it gets properly confirmed. But this is how it'll look for the moment anyway. The points penalty, by the way, is the drop round. So I presume actually that's just being worked through at the moment because nobody else has any. Woodhouse should have...
They're on the screen now, I believe.
That should be correct, actually. So, yeah, the points penalty effectively is, the drop scores. So, as you can see, Traffic King having 23 points being taken away, for example. Heavyweight 30, as a predicted, getting taken away as well. Traffic King's lowest score, of course, that's 23 points being scored from his worst single race. In a 2-race calendar, in a 2-race round, that was a 5th place. When you're dropping a 5th place, you know you've had a good season. And so he at the moment has got 63 points over Heavyweight. That's more than enough to confirm him as champion, and just as well because he won't be here next week with a 42-point score at maximum next week. 9 points though, the gap between Heavyweight and Woodhouse, with Lee Southall actually involved in that battle for second as well, because he's only 25 back, although he would need the others to have a pretty bad round. So yeah, Heavyweight and Woodhouse, we're going to be able to watch pretty closely next week, have a good fight for second and third.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. Should be fun. At least we've got one battle going into the final round.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the championship finale we were hoping for, but you can't have everything, because Traffic King has had a very, very strong season indeed. Our first ever double race winner here in the Virtual Circuit Racing TCR Championship this season comes from Brandgs, and it's Traffic King who takes 82 points from the evening. That is 19 more than anybody else in tonight's race. So congratulations to him on the title and indeed the double race victory tonight. Big thanks to everyone who's been tuned in once again here on a Friday night. It's been a pleasure to be along once again. I've been Ewan alongside James Parfitt. Until we see you next week for the final round from Croft, it's goodbye for now.